What's going on, everybody? It is Nico Moreno here, and in today's video, there's the dog. Second of all, we're going to talk about how I made $60,000 in just one webinar. Depending on what I titled this video, you may not know what it is, but I'm going to tell you the secret. It's a webinar, so stick around if you want to see that.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Let's hop over into my computer here, and what I've done here is I created a little Google slide presentation. There's just one slide. I'm just going to walk you through what a webinar is. Okay, so what is a webinar? Why would you want one? Why do you need one? And who actually needs a webinar? So first thing, let's just dive right in. So what the heck is a webinar? Well, a lot of you who are watching this, you may have actually attended a webinar that was put on by me, right? You may have been on one of my webinars. And a few of you may have even bought one of my products from one of my webinars, right? And if not, if you haven't done that yet, then most likely if you're sitting here on YouTube watching an online business type video, you've probably been hit with YouTube ads. And in those YouTube ads, people are probably inviting you to webinars, right? So why is that, right? Why would people want to get you on a webinar in the first place? Well, because they are a great, fantastic way to sell online products, right? Especially to sell expensive online products. So basically, step one, people get you on a webinar. They invite you on a webinar. They usually will say something like, hey, free training or free webinar. We're going to show you how to do like X, Y, Z. There's literally no restriction on what a webinar can and cannot be about, right? It's just literally, it's just a presentation. So it can be on absolutely anything. It can be on how to do underwater basket weaving, how to lose weight, how to make money online, right? People who attend this webinar, people who sign up to attend this webinar, they've got a problem, right? So a lot of times, at least in my niche, a lot of times people are wanting to start a business. They're wanting to make money online. They're wanting to figure out how they can, just make more sales of their product. Boom. So that's the goal of a webinar. Literally step one is, whoever is creating the webinar, they just want to get a bunch of people watching the webinar who all have this common problem. Now, why do they actually want to do that? Well, the first roughly 30 to 45 minutes of the webinar is going to be teaching some content, right? Or at least the good ones do. We've all probably been on webinars here. I'm going to raise my hand. I've definitely been on one of these types of webinars where you basically would call it a pitch fest, right? So they're not even providing any value at all. They are not, it's literally just selling a product. So if you're a subscriber to my channel, you may or may not have done a webinar yourself. You may be brand new. You may have only been on the receiving end, the watcher end of the webinar, the attendee. But let me tell you, being the actual webinar host and being the person who is on the webinar, who's created the webinar, they can make you a lot of money really fast. So that's the really cool thing about webinars. When they're done properly, they can actually make you a very substantial amount of money very fast, right? Because people from all over the world, they're able to just log on their computer and see this presentation. And then at the end, usually around the 45-minute mark, you're going to start to see people who are doing webinars, if they're doing them correctly, then they're going to shift over to, instead of teaching content, right? 3 secrets about how you can lose weight fast, 3 secrets about how you can make money online, right? Then eventually they're going to switch over to what we call the pitch. Boom. Then we transition over to what we call the pitch. Okay, so this is essentially when the person who's creating the webinar host, they are starting to pitch their product. Okay, so they've given, if it's a good webinar, they've given some value, they've shown some testimonials and some examples of what can be done with this new product or the thing that they're going to be selling. The whole time here, they're kind of like, they're getting you excited about what's going to come up, like, because they're going to, eventually reveal this exciting thing that's going to solve all their problems, right? Because remember, everyone who's on a webinar, they all share a common problem. So they're kind of like hinting at and getting you really excited and pumped up for this super cool thing that's going to come up and it's going to solve all their problems, right? At the end of the day, the goal of a webinar is to sell a pretty high-end product, right? And the reality is these work pretty darn well to sell expensive products. So, a certain percentage of people who are actually watching the webinar at the time that you switch over to the pitch, a certain percentage of those people who are present will usually buy the product if it's a good webinar. There's, of course, many ways to do a webinar incorrectly. This will not always work. But if you're following, a proven formula on how to create a good webinar, and you have a good product that's like, a good, honest product that's going to help people, then, if you follow this process correctly, then a certain percentage, usually between like 3% to like 15% is really, really good. A percentage of those people will actually go over to the order page and they'll buy your product. They'll literally enter their credit card information. They'll pay you $1,000, $2,000, whatever the price point is, sometimes even up to $5,000. Although once you get to the $2,000, $3,000 range, it's typically better to, at the end of a webinar, direct people to a phone call. So why are webinars so cool and why are they so powerful, right? Like, they sound really boring, and a lot of times the actual creation process of the webinar is kind of boring. So why would you put all this effort into creating one in the first place? Well, the reality is webinars are quite literally the fastest way to scale up your business and to make a lot of money online. Just hands down. If you have one winning webinar, like one webinar that's working to make you money, all you have to do is get more people to watch it, right? Because it's literally just math. A certain percentage of people watching at the end will buy it. That's just how it works, okay? Now, of course, the percentage could fluctuate depending on how good the webinar is and how good a fit the people are who are watching your webinar are for your actual offer. But at the end of the day, it's a certain percentage of people who watch the webinar to the end, they'll buy your product. So it's literally just a factor of getting as many people on that webinar. So for the example that I'm using for this video that I was telling you about, the case study where I made about $60,000 from one webinar. We were selling a $497 product. We had price point was $497 and we sold about 60K, which means we sold 120 of them. Okay, so 120 people bought this product. So that's super, super powerful. That's more than most people make in an entire year. And guess what? It was recorded. It was not even live. Like, I just did all the work beforehand. I put all the slides together. I recorded the presentation and boom, I just like pushed play. That was it. So all the people logged on, they pulled out their credit card. Not everybody, but again, a certain percentage of people pulled out their credit card. They signed up to buy that product. So it's really, really powerful. And webinars are far and away the one skill that I wish that I had learned sooner. So far and away, webinars are one of the most powerful skills that a human being can possibly learn, right? Because it gives you the ability to scale your income very dramatically and very quickly if you're able to master it. And if you can do that, you can create freedom in your life, you can create freedom in your business, and you can make a lot of money really fast. So if you're someone who is anywhere along your entrepreneurial journey, maybe you're watching this and you want to start an online business, but you're not sure the best way to get it going, then you are absolutely going to want to hear this. So I'm going to put a link in the description. I'm actually releasing a program. Depending on when you're watching this, it's either about to be launched or it might be ready to go, teaching you exactly how to do this in a step-by-step, easy-to-follow format. Okay, so this video is not a webinar and this is not going to be a pitch fest, but if you want to learn webinars, definitely check out the link. Literally, it is my gift to the world to share this with you because it's made such a dramatic impact in my life. And I really just want to help you guys be able to do this as well. Most people will not have their $1 million webinar on day one, right? It takes work, it takes consistency, it takes time and effort. But my goal with this program that I'm releasing for you guys is to shortcut that process down. It took me literally 2 years of failed webinars. 2 years of failed webinars, you heard that correctly, before I actually converted live and made a sale. It was on a $997 product. The thing that differentiated those 2 years of struggle for me versus like finally getting those first sales and then like ramping that up to a lot more was I paid a coach. That was it. I paid a coach to teach me how to do it. And he gave me his slides. Actually, I'm going to put his picture right up here. A lot of you guys probably know who it is. I paid him a lot of money to teach me how to do it. And he did. And it worked the first time, which is pretty darn cool. So again, that's my gift to you. I really want to help you guys learn how to do this so that you can have freedom. So again, this is not a pitch fest, but if this video resonated with you and it's a skill that you do want to learn, I invite you to check out the link in the description to learn more because it's absolutely going to change your life.
Alright guys, thanks so much for watching, and if you like this video, I'm actually going to link a couple more videos over here on the side that I think you're also going to love. So make sure and check these all out because these are specifically if you're interested in making money online, if you're interested in starting a business, and if you're just interested in having a great life and having freedom for yourself and for your family, then these videos are absolutely going to help you do that. Alright, so check them out, and I will see you guys next time.